Hi, good morning, and welcome to my walk and talk. Today, I want to talk about how to sell high and buy low. So, we need to try to avoid the famous round trip. Don't hold your bags too long, but also don't sell too early. This is the topic of our video today. So first of all, how can you manage to actually buy low? Because this is the most important point. If you're not able to buy low, it's very difficult, so to say, to sell high, depending where you are in the market cycle. Let me explain. So let's say you are buying now in the market cycle. Now I would say we are quite in between. We estimate that the market cycle, looking at the Bitcoin halving and the performance of the market overall, also looking at the M2 money supply, I'm estimating that the market will last till the end of the year, so probably December or January or even February. And then the market cycle will basically be over and it will decline again. Remember from my last videos, the market always moves in cycles. It's the same as in life. Sometimes you feel more positive, then you get a cycle where you have a downturn, but also in the market, the same as in your private life, it's very important to understand that this does not last forever. This is just a cycle. So if you go into the market right now, and I just told you that we are somewhere in between, I would say you're definitely not early. You should buy like when there is fear or extreme fear in the market, or if you have already a downtrend of 90% or so on, then there's the right point to buy. At the moment, there's certain assets that you can still buy, and there is the bigger place or the place that you are very convinced in that will actually survive multiple cycles that you can always buy. But also for these cycles, there are better entry points, but it's better to get them now than to always miss them. Like some people never buy, for example, Bitcoin, because when I told them to buy it when it was 10,000, they said, it's too expensive. 10,000 for this digital, I don't know, nothing, so to say. Then it went up to 30,000. Then they bought some, but then it crashed back down to, I don't know what the levels, but they have panicked and then they sold it and they never bought it actually again. So what I mean by that is if you have conviction bets, or if you see, especially now, how the big guy, so Bitcoin, is developing, there is no chance that this will stop anytime soon. Maybe we get some problems when Biden is getting out, Trump is getting out of office in the US, and then they reverse some things that he's doing now. As you know, he's very pro, he's very for the strategy and for all the investments, what he's doing with his family office as well, and so on. So for now, I don't see any problems in these big players. Like I said, Bitcoin probably will also see a very nice uptrend for Solana and for the most hated asset at the moment, Ethereum. Ethereum really shocked a lot of people because it went down so heavily just some months ago that a lot of people got executed. So these assets, in my opinion, if you have a long-term strategy, you can always hold. And it's very important to understand that it's the market cycles, but it is also your time preference, and also when do you need the money? What do you plan to do with the money? Do you want to retire on the money? If this is the case, you need to invest it for at least 10 years, or depending on how much money you have to put into the market. If you need your money next month or whatever, then it's very difficult to play the market. To make a lot of money in a very short time, you need to put on a lot of risk, or you have to put on a lot of leverage. And this can go into the other direction, basically. With a lot of leverage, you can also lose a lot of money. It goes up. The same multiplier that you can have when it goes up, of course, the same multiplier will bring you down. So what is the best strategy to buy low? I would really recommend that you're using certain indicators like the fear and greed index, or look at the M2 money supply, look at the RSI levels, but not just the general RSI levels. Look at the RSI heat map. By the way, I have made a course, an online course that is called Buy Low and Sell High. If you're interested in that, head over to block7.io and you will find all my courses and all the free communities, the free stuff. So check that out. This is the only way that you can make decisions without being too emotional. If you have some indicators, if you have some fixed points where you say, okay, if this asset I want to buy comes to this price point, I get in. And then if this asset goes to this price point, I will sell this and this percentage of it, or will sell everything. Or if it goes to this indicator, you can also combine it. You don't just have to stick to one indicator. Could use, for example, the fear and greed index to get into the market, but then you could use a technical indicator. You could use RSI levels. You could use the rainbow chart. You could use a certain price point. You could say, if it makes 100%, I get out, and so on. So we have discussed the buying opportunities, and also let's talk in more detail about when you should sell it. We talked already about it with the levels. So if you have certain levels on the indicator or on your plan, then this is the time to sell it. But also in the opposite direction, you can use the fear and greed index. If the people get very euphoric, if there's extreme greed in the market, then usually it is the time to sell the asset. There is nice fear and greed indicators that you find out there. I think CoinMarketCap has one, CoinTracker or CoinRank, they have one. And I would suggest for the fear and greed index not to take one data point. With the buying opportunities, so with the fear, you can do that, because if it goes one day to a very low fear level, then the price is very low and then you can buy it. But with the greed, sometimes the market is overheating, and then the greed indicator, the extreme greed indicator, is shooting up just for one day, but then it's cooling off again. And when it's cooling off again, it usually means that the market is running even further. So it's not advisable to sell at the first green or whatever indicator. It is red, extreme fear point. So you need to look at it in a little different way. Wait until, I don't know, there's 4 days of extreme greed or something like that. Look at the historical metrics. In all these indicators, you will see historical metrics, and then have a look, how long are the fear and greed indicators usually in extreme greed before they turn over and collapse. If you know this, then you are already far ahead of most of the other investors, which most of the investors are actually investing emotionally. It's very hard to disconnect yourself from the market, especially if you need the money in a quite short term. Also, I see in my community, if people have been working very hard for the money, if this is very much money for them, like if they have smaller amounts and they put it in, especially then they get very emotional and make actually very stupid decisions. it doesn't matter if this is getting into the market. So you're not timing the market right when you get in because you're so emotional. You don't want to miss anything. Your friend told you, wow, this coin I made already 100% and you need to go in and this will make you rich and so on. Don't make decisions on other people. You really need to understand the asset. It's very important. When we talk about buying low and selling high, it's also important to understand the narrative. So what is actually trending at the moment? Why is this important? This basically helps you to predict if an asset or an asset class is very likely to explode, so to say. So you can search around, go on X, find out what are actually the industry leaders or also regular people talking about. And you will notice that some projects always come up. The same, if you watch a lot of YouTube videos in crypto, you will also notice that suddenly people start to talk about certain assets. We have seen that quite extreme over the latest years with Solana. Then we have seen it now a little later in the latest months with SUI, also with Hyperliquid. And these are very early indicators that probably some asset is starting to explode or some asset class. Why is that? Because a lot of influencers are more integrated in the industry. They have much more knowledge and they have much more time. They spend like hours and hours every day researching, like I do. Like I spend almost my whole day looking at crypto content. And if you do this, then of course I see the patterns earlier. I see patterns where it's going to develop. And the clear pattern I want to tell you at the moment is actually the AI play pattern, which is AI coins that could also be like this new, so to say, meme coins. You see AI agents, but this is just one little part. This is not really the very serious part. And I would say the AI agents, like we have seen it, like AI 16C, like virtuals and all these coins, they are quite primitive, right? You don't really need AI play for that, I would say, what they can do. Like some AI bots that can comment or reply on Twitter is not that exciting, right? It's just a regular average AI application that is put on the blockchain or got a token to promote stuff. So this is not that exciting. But what I'm talking about is also AI infrastructure plays or even coins that are combining a valuable blockchain idea and the AI narrative. Let's talk about the second one, the AI infrastructure. We have loads of projects that are actually supporting the AI infrastructure. This means that could even start with Chainlink. Chainlink is a quite very old project. But what is going on now is that all these AI agents and all these decentralized platforms, what do they need? They definitely need GPU, so power to calculate. They need actually a data center and so on, but they also need some kind of oracle that will help them to understand the data. An oracle is basically an engine that will allow to gather information from different data sources. So it's like connecting APIs. If your application, which is decentralized or which is an AI application, wants to find out actually what is the daily price or what is the price of Solana today and what was the price of Solana 3 years ago, if you do that with a regular AI, you will run into troubles oftentimes, and the data has to be proven and reliable. So Chainlink can connect all these informations from these blockchains, and you need something like that. You also need a data storage solution. There's a lot of stuff like there's Filecoin, and there's also other modern technologies that will help with that. We also have render, which is helping with GPUs. So it's basically, I guess what they do is they are getting into data centers. So they will rent out data availability that is not used at the moment. And I think they also have their own data center structure, and they're able to serve also the same industry. Some of these coins that I mentioned are around quite some time. So they are on the market for years, but they did not really get traction. They're sneaking up the ladder, I would say, because if you look at Chainlink, nobody's really talking about Chainlink anymore, not at least not in my cycles, but it's slowly sneaking up to, I think it's already in the top 15 from a market cap perspective on CoinMarketCap. So it's getting traction. So this would be an industry or all this infrastructure that decentralized compute or these AIs need. Also keep in mind, if you want to stop censorship, you cannot use like the regular cloud systems like Google Cloud, Amazon, and so on. You also need to have decentralized storage, decentralized data, decentralized GPU, and so on to really perform what the whole plan was with all the blockchain development. Then we have newer plays, and this is also something that suddenly some months ago everybody started to talk about. This is Tau, BitTensor. BitTensor is a project that did actually quite a clever setup. What they did basically is they came up with the idea to find out what is the best tokenomics for a project, what makes a project valuable in the blockchain area, and they took the idea of Bitcoin. What I mean by that is that you could say it's a kind of fork of Bitcoin where they also managed to have a maximum supply of 21 million. They also have a halving cycle, and they also have mining. Some people say the venture capitalists in Silicon Valley supporting this so much because some of them are in mining, and they're trying to solve the issue that when all Bitcoins are mined, or now there's not much Bitcoin anymore that gets mined over the next decades, then these Bitcoin miners could actually switch and also mine BitTensor with the same machines. But what BitTensor does is, so first of all, it has got this Bitcoin technology, so to say, which is very, very positive and has proven that people want it over the years. But also it has this AI component built in. It's basically a mix of Bitcoin and is also able to support the AI ecosystem. So you have some kind of marketplace and you have all these projects and different chains that are running around BitTensor. This is also something I would recommend to look into. We've shortly already talked about Hyperliquid. This is also something that exploded over the latest months. And it exploded because we have seen very crazy traders going into the market. So just to explain it to you, basically Hyperliquid is, you could explain it as decentralized exchange. A decentralized exchange would be that it's not centralized, not controlled by one entity. What I have heard with Hyperliquid is that it is, if you really look into it, it's not 100% a decentralized exchange because it seems to be like the money is locked in some pools and an administrator basically has the keys to, he would be able to basically drain the funds. So you can't really say it's decentralized, but for the sake of explanation for this video, let's say it's decentralized. And so you can trade on this platform without KYC, without anything. The disadvantage is that people can basically track you. So we had this big trader, I forgot his name. He's a guy from the UK, from Manchester or some of these areas. And he was trading, I think, with 1 billion or so. And he went, I don't know what it was, like 40x or 10x long on Bitcoin. And then what happens is, because it is a decentralized exchange, the problem is that people can actually track you. As soon they found out that actually this address is connected to you, they will be able to track your trades. And they will exactly see who is in the trade and how much money is in the trade. And so sometimes the market makers then start to hunt these people. If there's 1 billion on the line, they try to hunt this guy and basically try to get him liquidated to make a lot of money. And this is also what happened. So this guy got liquidated. He was very unstable. He went long, short, and so on. What should that tell you? So there's sometimes a period where certain projects are really getting traction, and then you need to get in. And then there's the questions, are you already too late to get into this project? If you see like BitTensor is running, it's already having a very high market cap. And the question is, should you then still go into the market, or is this already too late for you? Well, if a project is really running and you have the feeling it really has traction and gets adoption, I would still go into it. Maybe be a little careful. The best thing what I can recommend to you is to not just blindly get in because of the hype, but what you do is you make a list for yourself. On this list, you put all assets that you want to buy in the future because you have conviction that they will go up. And maybe you also put a price where you are actually willing to buy the asset. Let's say now I put on Hyperliquid. I think Hyperliquid went over 400 already. So depending on how conservative or motivated you are with these new assets, I would strongly recommend to tell yourself, okay, now I'm not getting in because it's maybe running for 6 months and you could make tons of money. But because they are in the first cycle, these are new projects, they will fall quite deep in the next market downturn. So if you're convinced about these projects, if you're also convinced that the development is good, the technology is good, and they will come back in the next cycle because they're good projects and nobody will take them over, then put them on the list, say, okay, calculate that it will drop 50% or more. So you could put it on your buying list for $200. You could also automate it, but I would not really recommend it. If you automate it, make it in a way that you put it into some kind of tracker, and the tracker should remind you to buy it at 200. Don't put it on an exchange and let a bot or exchange buy it for yourself if it's a lot of money. If it's not a lot of money, if it's not a lot of money for you, you can do it. I just want to tell you that it could be a risk for you, that if you have too much money on an exchange, the money could be gone because it's not your money. Even if it's a decentralized exchange, there is a smart contract risk. There's other risks that you probably don't know. There's hacker risks and so on. So be careful about that. But let's say you put Hyperliquid at 200 on the list, you go for BitTensor. I don't know what it is. It's quite high. So also put it on the list like with 50% discount, or you could also scale into it. So you could say, if it goes down 25%, I buy, I don't know, $200. It goes down 50%, I buy $400, and so on. So you scale in, then it's possible that it goes down, but it doesn't really matter. What you then need to know that it's very likely that this project will be down for around 2 or 3 years if the cycle continues like it is at the moment, which I'm not very sure if this is the case. We have seen now so much institutional adoption. So many companies are trying to save themselves because they don't really have a valid business model. So they just buy Bitcoin to hope that the stock price will go up. So because of this, I'm not sure if we will still see a regular Bitcoin halving cycle. But if we have something like a halving cycle, then these projects will have the crypto winter, meaning that they will be down for some years. And you need to understand this. So if you put on your list, don't expect that the assets come down very fast. I mean, they could come down very fast, but then don't expect that they go up very rapidly. In this case, it could also be good to watch the winners. There are always winners when it goes into a bear market. These are projects that hold strong, and these are probably the higher ranking projects. I'm talking about Bitcoin, Ethereum, Solana, maybe XRP, maybe ADA. Why is that? Because these are the strong, proven assets. They have gone through many market cycles, and they're finding now new adoption. Industries, governments, everybody is getting into the Bitcoin. Now we have Ethereum ETFs. We're getting Ethereum ETF staking approved. That means institutional investors will come in, and for them it will be very attractive as they can make dividends on their assets. This is important, so this will grow. We have now first signs that the Solana ETFs will get approved in the next weeks. We have the stablecoin bill almost passed, so we have the Senate deciding that probably now it's much easier to use or to develop stablecoins, but the stablecoins will have to have a backing. And the trick of the US government is basically that the stablecoins need to buy bonds. So we have the new bond buyer of the US. I've talked about that in a video already. But basically what they're doing is they're now using the stablecoins. Nobody wants to buy their bonds anymore. And this is why now all the stablecoin issuers, no matter if this is USDT or USDC, they all have to buy their bonds to be able to actually exist as stablecoin. So yeah, this is how you can actually buy low and sell high. I hope that was useful. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to subscribe. Also, head over to my website. It's block7.io. You can find a lot of free stuff there. I'm just starting a free community, so you can join the community. You can download my presentations that I'm doing almost every day. You can get into mini courses. You can book your one-on-one consulting with me. You can also find other courses like the Buy Low, Sell High course, where I explain in very detail what indicators to use. So basically what we discussed today, but in much more details. I think it's 6 hours or 8 hours. I don't know how long it is. So I see you in my next video. Take care. Bye-bye.